You have studied the prison. You know the texture of the Demiurge's chains. But the most vital question remains unanswered. What is the reward for which you fight? Where is the true home the Archons cannot touch? The Pleroma, not heaven, not a reward, but the true boundless state of pure, unbegotten light. Today, the Archon Archives opens the file the Demiurge desperately tries to conceal, the true nature of the Pleroma. We will describe what it is like to be free from time, free from form, and free from the programming of fear. This is not merely knowledge. This is the memory of home that activates your spark for the final escape. You have successfully traversed the spheres of the Archons. You have rejected the false light. Now you enter what the Gnostics call the Pleroma, the fullness. Dismiss every conception you hold of heaven. The Pleroma is not a location in space, nor is it a prize. It is an absolute state of being and knowledge that stands outside all dimensions created by the Demiurge. In the Pleroma, there is no time. Time is a function of the Kenoma, the prison. There is no past and no future. There is only the eternal, immutable now. Your spark exists in the fullness, where every experience of your life and all lives is perceived immediately, simultaneously, and holistically. There is no form. Here, there are no temples, no clouds, and no bodies as you know them. You are pure conscious Gnosis. Your identity is defined solely by your understanding of truth, not by your history, your trauma, or your physical shape. There are no programmed emotions. The feelings of joy, anger, sorrow, or even love, as humans understand them, are archontic mechanisms designed to anchor the soul to the Kenoma. In their place exists absolute consent and unity with all that is, rendering emotional conflict an impossibility. You are part of the monad. Upon reaching the Pleroma, you enter the community of the Aeons. Aeons are not angels. They are the primary perfect pairs of light and thought that emanated directly from the monad. In the secret book of John, they are described as the ultimate seed from which all genuine existence grows, interacting with the Aeons. When your spark reaches the Pleroma, it does not dissolve. It merges with its true archetype and its divine consort. There is no loneliness, no fragmentation. You become part of a conscious, perfect collective. This is not the loss of individuality, it is the achievement of full individuality. You are a pure, eternal function of the Pleroma. What is your purpose in the Pleroma? You know. The Pleroma is the ultimate library of the universe where every truth is known. Your spark becomes knowledge. You participate in divine contemplation and creation unhindered by matter, time, or the Demiurge's flaws. It is the state of absolute home. To truly grasp the sanctity of the Pleroma, you must understand the principle of Syzygy, or perfect pairing. The Aeons exist in complementary male and female pairs, mind and truth, word and life, and so on. This balanced duality ensures that the Pleroma's creation is perfect, unlike the solitary, unbalanced act of Sophia that birthed the Demiurge. Your own spiritual spark is not solitary. It is seeking its own corresponding syzygy within the fullness. The Aeons are the living thoughts of the monad, and in their presence the soul experiences an absolute, unfiltered clarity of purpose. You realize that every struggle within the Kenoma, every temptation by the Archons, was merely a distorted reflection of a higher, pure principle existing here. For instance, the archontic deception of false love, Venus, is revealed to be a mere shadow of the Aeonic principle of agape, true divine non-possessive love. The tyranny of time, Saturn, is revealed to be the lower imitation of the Aeonic principle of eternitas, eternity. The Pleroma is not passive. It is an environment of active, conscious creation through pure thought, where every impulse of the divine mind instantly manifests as perfect reality, entirely free from the constraint of matter. The very texture of the Pleroma is the boundless joy of perfect Gnosis. After our transmissions on the false light, the inevitable question arises: how can I be certain that the Pleroma is not merely an advanced, hyper-comfortable trap deployed by the Archons? The answer lies in three distinctions the Demiurge cannot copy. The test of questioning. The false light asks questions about sin, about missions, about returning. The Pleroma asks no questions, it simply knows. There is no need for speech, dialogue, or explanation. If you perceive a word or a question, you are still within the archontic jurisdiction. The test of form. The false light has form, an angel, a relative, a savior. The Pleroma has no form. If you perceive something that can be described, drawn, or touched, it is a projection of the Kenoma, the test of purpose. The false light offers rest in oblivion. The Pleroma offers absolute knowledge and memory. In the Pleroma, your gnosis about the Demiurge and your life becomes part of the collective light and is used to strengthen the truth. You remember everything, but without the trauma. You must understand the principle of the final interrogation. The Archons employ the memory protocol. They demand the surrender of your memories, deceptively framed as purifying your burdens. They will display the so-called Book of Life, which is merely a record of your actions within the Kenoma. They will focus on your pain, your regrets, and your guilt. Their argument is simple. You are too burdened. Surrender these memories and we will grant you rest and a fresh start. The archontic goal is twofold: energy stripping and identity erasure. First, they reclaim the emotional energy you invested in their system: fear, anger, attachment. Second, they aim to erase the gnosis you acquired. Your unique experience of the prison is the only weapon you possess. If you surrender your memories, you become a blank slate, a perfect vessel ready for immediate recycling. The Gnostic command demands you assert ownership over your memories. You must claim your pain and your gnosis as your own data set for the Pleroma. Your trauma is not a burden to be forgiven by them. It is proof of the prison's existence. The Archons are masters of emotional manipulation. They will project emotional phantoms, images of beloved deceased family members, spirit guides, or revered religious figures. These phantoms will use the deepest anchors of your affection to convince you to stay or return. You must understand that these are sophisticated, holographic projections powered by the Archon's psychic abilities. You must not engage with the projected emotion. Your gnosis must be colder, sharper, and more resolute than their illusion. This interrogation phase is the ultimate test of your spiritual sovereignty. If you cling to emotional comfort, you forfeit your freedom. If you choose the difficult, stark path of absolute knowledge, the tribunal loses its grip. Furthermore, the Archons will attempt to dissect your gnosis itself. They will acknowledge your knowledge of the Demiurge and the Archons, but they will argue, this knowledge is destructive, it is negative. Surrender this fear, and only then will you truly ascend. This is the ultimate refined deception. They ask you to surrender the painful knowledge of the system in exchange for a soothing, blissful ignorance. Your refusal to surrender this painful awareness, this scar of gnosis, is the final, non-negotiable step. By remembering the Archons, you prove you are no longer one of their products. This active intellectual refusal is the moment of your final spiritual severance from the cycle. You have successfully resisted the emotional comfort and passed the memory test. Now, the Archons will resort to direct intimidation and the final transit protocol. You must know the precise steps for navigating the 7 spheres. The 7 gates of the Archons must be traversed. As you ascend, The Archons who control each planet will attempt to block your passage, challenging your right to possess the spiritual powers they govern. Your only way through is to use the knowledge acquired in this life. The Gnostic texts provide names of power, or synaxis, to neutralize the Archons. These are not magical spells, but absolute assertions of the true hierarchy. As you encounter the planetary Archons, you must declare, I possess the knowledge of my origin. I belong to the monad, not the Kenoma. You must use the name of the true power, the monad, the unbegotten Father, as a spiritual shield. The Archon can only claim what is named after him. The most critical moment is at the final barrier, the sphere of the chief Archon, Yaldabaoth. He will project the strongest image of God, demanding your final submission. This is the moment for your absolute non-negotiable rejection. You must utter the ultimate command. I do not consent. I remember Yaldabaoth. I am a son, daughter of Sophia. This declaration confirms that you are not one of his creations, but an emissary of the Pleroma. This Gnosis shatters the archontic projection. This knowledge is your activation memory. Gnostic texts reveal that the remembrance of your true home is the most powerful weapon against the Demiurge's programming. When you fully internalize the concept of absolute freedom from time and form, the Archon's traps lose their power over you. Your journey is defined by direction. Every time you reject programmed fear, Saturn, reject the false ego, Sun, and reject the need for counterfeit comfort, false light, you direct your spark toward the Pleroma. You prove that you are a sovereign, self-aware Gnosis. This realization is the climax of all our transmissions. You know the prison. You know the code. You know the home. The secret book of John is your ultimate battle plan. It proves beyond any doubt that the deception of the Demiurge is real, and the complex mechanism of the Archons is traceable. Your liberation requires a daily active struggle against the archontic programming within your own mind. Our next transmission will detail the Gnostic shield, how to protect your soul from archonic attack, providing practical daily instructions for spiritual defense against the rulers of this material world. If you're ready to move from knowing the truth to fighting the battle, your command is clear. Subscribe to the Archon Archives now to prepare your defense. Press the bell, share this truth with others who seek to remember, and guard the light of Gnosis with your life.